The Sopranos is the best television show ever made. If you disagree with that statement, you either haven't seen The Sopranos or you've recently incurred a head injury. I could sit here for a full 24 hours and not be done telling you all the reasons why The Sopranos is the boldest slice of genius to ever grace our screens. For now, I will say that it has everything in just the right amount. It encourages you to analyze its deeper themes and even works with you through them via Dr. Melfi. It presents characters that are human and believable and flawed and never not themselves, and the deepest, most well thought out main character that there will likely ever be. It takes one of the most wildly entertaining genres in Hollywood history, flips it on its head and makes fun of it while still potentially being the best ever example of it. Goodfellas is easily my favorite mafia film of all time. It's damn near perfect. In fact, it is perfect, and still somehow The Sopranos outdoes it at every turn. It's a monolithic endeavor that stands far apart in quality and intelligence from anything else I can care to name, while still being able to make you laugh out loud with often abject immaturity. It's safe to say that I fucking love The Sopranos, and conversely, it's also safe to say that I was very apprehensive when I heard about the Many Saints of Newark. So this isn't going to be a Many Saints of Newark explained video. That's probably coming because there is a lot to go over, especially in how this relates to The Sopranos, but really this is just a reaction and review because it's such a conflicting movie. But really the first question I have to answer now that I've seen it, am I glad it happened? Yes. Yes, I am very glad it happened. Yes, I would take another movie. But this is by no means perfect. There is a reasonable amount of bad with the good that's worth considering given that this is now confirmed to be the start of a cinematic or TV universe. And honestly, I love Marvel, I love the MCU, but everything needing to be a cinematic universe now is becoming draining to say the least. And perfect is hard to attain, even harder to live up to, so this seems like they very much have their work cut out for them. With that being said, let's look at this film's main problem, which is absolutely running time. We sat through 7.5 hours of The Irishman's self-indulgent octogenarianism. This film could have, and absolutely should have been longer. At its core, it's trying to do two things. One is show us all of the characters we know and love in The Sopranos when they were younger. There's a lot of characters to touch base with meaningfully, and truthfully, they didn't achieve that. Two is telling a tight mafia story about the fall of Dickie Moltisanti, and truthfully they didn't achieve that either. The root cause of both is that they simply didn't have the running time to do both effectively. And it's a shame because both were done really, really well when they had time to breathe. This is how Goodfellas can be perfect, and Sopranos still can be far better than that. Perfect is confined, it's tight and it's efficient. There isn't any wasted space in Perfect. The Sopranos never had to worry about that. It takes its time, it builds, it paces, and it develops its characters flawlessly. In The Many Saints of Newark, however, there simply isn't time to tell Dickie's story and have meaningful interactions with the characters that we know and love. And oh my god, when we do get these moments, they're electric. I have to mention how literally fucking incredible Vera Farmiga and Corey Stoll were. They inhabited their roles perfectly, and I just immediately recognized them as the younger versions of their characters. The scene with Michael Gandolfini and Vera Farmiga where she's made him the burger was worth the price of admission on its own. In fact, damn near every time these moments occurred, they were flawless. There just wasn't enough space to let these moments spread out and define the film as they would define a series of The Sopranos. Running parallel with this is Dickie's story, and hats off to Alessandro Nivola for the performance because that's an absolutely welcome addition. At points, he's everything a Sopranos character should be, flawed and dangerous, believable and relatable. His story was good. He kills the father, takes over the racket, gets in a feud, but then it essentially just stops. Now I understand this is supposed to reflect the blunt, shocking appearance of death, especially death in the world of organized crime, but as much as I get that, it doesn't seem like an excuse to ignore pacing or conflict progression or the catharsis of conclusion. And all of this was fixable given more running time. This is a damn good movie, but to touch on the greatness of its past required simply more of it. Let's stick with that ending for a moment because I'd be lying if I said I wasn't giddy with excitement during parts of it. Finding out it was Uncle June who had Dickie assassinated was a massive reveal for people who've watched the series. And the way they didn't show the assassin, so you're still not sure if Tony was being honest with Chrissy about the cop that killed him or not, it was a very good choice. And really it's Chrissy that still doesn't know. He's narrating from hell after all, so we can guess this is something that still plagues him. Given that Dickie was carrying TV trays when it happened though, I think we can presume Tony was telling the truth. And I love this decision for June's character too. I loved how he was the joke of the group, living under his brother and Dickie's shadow, being bullied, essentially a loser until he decides on a new path, and we see the more cunning side of him come out that he'll later have success with. Even more than that though was the goosebump inducing moment with the pinky swear right at the end. And it's here that we see the best and worst this film has to offer. Tony joins pinkies with Dickie's corpse, and woke up this morning just comes in like a brain brain massage from God. There's no need for words, the music makes everything clear. Tony isn't going to accept this, he isn't going to avoid crime, he's going to pursue the life of his hero Dickie Moltisanti, and if possible he's going to take revenge. It's in these closing moments that we come to realize it's not really Dickie's story, it's the start of Tony's. It's all leading up to the moment in the funeral parlor where he decides on the life of crime. And that's brilliant, but that isn't the movie we've been watching. I love it, but I just can't help but feel like an extra half an hour with Michael Gandolfini on screen would have made this conclusion a beautiful one rather than a rushed one. And honestly, that's a pretty good main problem to have, that there just needed to be more movie. But I think anyone that's ever taken a screenwriting class will tell you that Tony killing Howard in revenge and actually beginning his life of crime there would have made for a far more satisfying conclusion. And that's not just me wanting Tony to be a big bad mobster, that's me wanting something for Howard that actually makes sense. Because out of every character in the movie, it's Howard that suffers the most. There's a few times that characters make decisions that simply do not make sense given what we have seen. This also happened a lot in The Sopranos. We'd see characters flip out because they were displacing other stresses. They didn't say out loud, I'm stressed about my family life, so I'm going to beat you to death. They commit the act and often leave us to figure out the why during or after. Here though, these moments are too fleeting, too underdeveloped to draw any meaningful conclusions. Howard suffers from this the worst. During the Newark riots, for example, we see him petrol bomb a police car. His expression doesn't really tell us much. If this is a rebellion, it's a hypocritical one given that he spends the first half of the movie beating and then executing a black teenager. Something far worse than the catalyst for the riot. We see him clearly maligned over the status of black American life, over poverty, and the rate of black Americans dying in Vietnam. But from there, he decides that these people are going to be his victims, that he will rob and racketeer around the Central Ward, opposing but also emulating the mafia. So honestly, why'd he throw the petrol bomb? We can presume anger at his situation and the catharsis of violence, but if that is really it, then it should be clearer. Just some more time with the character so we actually know. Because one thing is for certain, you're never at the end of an episode of The Sopranos going, why did Tony do that? And beyond that, Howard's story is just really unfulfilling. He sleeps with Giuseppina, and while this does play a part in Dickie's arc, it doesn't ever get resolved between them. It doesn't get brought up with Howard's wife or even with Giuseppina again. It just happens so Dickie has a reason to kill her at the end. And Howard doesn't get blamed for Dickie's death. In fact, it looks very much like he just goes from strength to strength and is there ready for the sequel. It's not just Howard's story either. There's a lot that could have been made clearer here just with better editing. Telling the audience you can't bear children, then 2 scenes later fast forwarding into the future where you've had a child is just a plain odd decision that raises questions to the audience that the film doesn't even think about after. Setting a character up as someone who despises domestic violence and then having him drown his girlfriend is another example of this. And please don't think I'm being ignorant here. I know this is what David Chase does. He doesn't write characters that are simply good or evil, they're always both. But those characters usually have a moral structure also. Tony has limits. Chrissy has different limits. They react differently to the same stimuli, but they always act like themselves. It seems like Howard's driving motivation is racial injustice keeping him at the bottom, and Dickie's arc is catalyzed by his disgust for his father's domestic violence. But both these things are ultimately contradicted. And it's absolutely fine if you want that to be the case, if you show them becoming the monster they always resented. But you didn't. We just cut to scenes where they make decisions and act differently. Dickie sees Giuseppina upset and injured in one scene, and in the next he kills his father. Howard goes from executing a black teenager to attending Black Pride poetry meetings to victimizing every black shop owner in his neighborhood. That's not development, that's whiplash. My god, I feel dirty saying all this because there is so much good here. As the film was opening, I was given a silent prayer to David Chase that they'd stay away from the source material, that they'd present something connected but definitely separate. This wasn't the case at all, and I did not care one bit. In fact, as soon as the film opened to Chrissy's narration, I was immediately salivating as my brain began to understand it was getting new Sopranos content. Everything about his narration was beautifully done. I think all the character introductions are done extremely well, except for Dickie. I think it takes us a while to figure out what sort of man he actually is. But easily my favorite part of Dickie's character is the clear sociopathy he demonstrates. Almost every kind thing he does is performative. A great example of this is him kicking Tony's butt in a deliberately theatrical way when telling him to go hook Johnny. He doesn't do it out of love, he does it because he's registered Johnny's discomfort. June tells him to consider themselves brothers after losing his father, and he uses this as ammo to later mock Junior. He even gets artificially enraged at his father's funeral to make it seem like he cares more. Honestly, if it had been just that, and not the confusing whiplash between White Knight and Barbara's killer, there would have been no problems with his decision making. But we never saw him murdering his father as him attempting to gain something, and so it feels confused. which is fine if you have 10 hours to explore the character's confusion, not so much in a 2-hour movie with an ensemble cast. The setting, the clothing, all of the visuals of the film are absolutely stunning. In terms of immersion, of feeling the time period and the universe this is set in, it's phenomenal. I had no doubt I was in Sopranos land. The Newark riots were phenomenally well executed. Honestly, these shots are just stunning. This shot of Giuseppina is perfect too. It tells you exactly what she is, the beautiful woman that is going to cause all the trouble. It's effortless cool, and it uses its visual illusions so neatly you could pause it and map out the drama and tragedy that will follow her. And because of this gloss and nostalgia, maybe it does lose its teeth a little bit in favor of glamour. The Sopranos was effortlessly current. It lampooned modern life, especially for the Italian-American community. It made fun of itself and its characters and both the absurdity and banality of modern existence in a way that this film doesn't. And again, that's absolutely fine. At the end of the day, this isn't The Sopranos. But I do think that modern dialogue is perhaps something that David Chase's voice lends itself to better. One area it does not lose its teeth is the violence and the action. This is paced perfectly. You feel every gunshot. It's got that insanely violent death at 2/3 in that all mafia movies seem to need. The action has the same no hero style realism to it that defined the rare shootouts that occurred in The Sopranos. And the acting for the most part is sublime. There are really only 3 standout problems as far as this goes: Silvio, Johnny Boy, and Joey Coco Diaz, who I will not learn the name of his character because he wasn't fucking playing one. I'm an avid MMA fan, and so I've had plenty of exposure to Joey Diaz, and he's honestly made me laugh plenty in interviews, but he wasn't acting here, not one bit. In fact, every scene to me looks like he's edited himself in on a green screen because he's just so out of place in every shot. Even his lines, like his reference to wanting to eat Giuseppina's shit, was to Joey Diaz. I think it's pretty clear that they wanted him because he auditioned for the role of Puss in the past and has since become Joe Rogan famous, but it was honestly a horrible decision, and I literally groaned with relief when he got the personality blown out the back of his skull. As far as Silvio goes, yes, I know he was wearing a wig in the show, it's not that, it's absolutely the actor. Corey Stoll and Vera Farmiga aren't doing impressions here, they are inhabiting the younger versions of those characters. This guy is doing an over-the-top impression of Silvio Dante, and I cannot stand it. And honestly, I think I saw him in Overlord too, and my first and lasting take on him there was that he was doing an over-the-top impersonation of an Italian-American that was just too much. Pussy and Paulie, on the other hand, did it just right. Understated, but still clearly them. Silvio was a massacre. And then, lastly, Johnny Boy John Barenthal, who is an actor that I love when he's put in the right role of aggressive meathead with no friends. The Punisher was seriously excellent, and he was the root cause of that, but he is not, this character is not Johnny Boy Soprano. He's also not really in the movie either, which I think is probably the filmmakers recognizing this issue. Johnny was charismatic, a Joker with a Rodney Dangerfield-like persona. You just don't feel any of that character in what John Barenthal does, and it's a shame, because if he had gone from that jokey Dangerfield style to shooting his wife's beehive with a revolver, then I think it would have been a lot scarier, a lot more impactful. He still made me laugh, he was still good at what he did, it's just that what he did was not the character we know whatsoever. One last thing I will say, a criticism I've seen a lot since this film was released, that The Sopranos has gone woke. I'm honestly baffled by this, and I think for some people a film being woke simply means that it has black people in it. There is still plenty of David Chase's signature mafia racism here, more slurs than afternoon tea at Quentin Tarantino's house. It's still employed for comedy, and as I've outlined, the main black character spends a good 75% of his time in the film victimizing other black people. And there is no change to how the camera lens or the script or the characters treat women. Even homophobia for comedic intent is still there too, so I just really don't understand where this complaint is coming from. So let's go back to the original question. Am I glad this happened? Yes, I am still. There is a lot of problems here, as I've really only just touched on, but nothing that fundamentally damages the legacy of The Sopranos. And I think when you get some space from it, there's a lot to look forward to if this was followed up on. I don't see anyone saying that they don't want to see Michael Gandolfini's descent into mobster violence. I don't see any problems that cannot be solved with more development. It definitely benefits from a second watch because a lot of the devices are so subtle. We see the pneumatic screwing device here, but it's not like the normal Chekhov's gun style foreshadowing of a weapon that will later be deadly. It's too subtle, too obscure, and really for that reason it isn't useful on a first viewing. It isn't building anything. Yeah, you can look back and say it's clever, I suppose, but as a device, what's it really doing at the point you see it in the film? In fact, this quick shot of a later torture device is evidential of the film's problems in microcosm. You may be able to explain why it's clever after the fact, but did it really do anything when you saw it? Now, I refuse to end this on a negative, and I've deliberately skirted around Michael Gandolfini. So let me close out by saying, you did good, kid. This must have been an emotional tsunami army for him, if not a total mindfuck. To be playing your deceased father is one thing, for him to be the highest regarded character in arguably the best television show of all time, in your first acting role in a major motion picture alongside actors of this caliber is astounding. And yes, he seems like an awkward teenager. He's meant to be. This is why Hollywood casts people in their mid to late 20s as teenagers for the most part, because we feel awkward seeing awkwardness. I have no doubt that if we do get a trilogy of films here, that we will see him go from strength to strength, and natural similarities aside, there are moments in his performance that gave me shivers. When we see the scene where Lydia has made him the burger and he says, "I'm always been accused," I'd completely forgotten what I was watching and that these were different actors. Honestly, for those moments alone, this was all worthwhile to me. And I hope that whatever the Sopranos fan community thinks of this movie, we can all agree that the kid did good and that his father would be immensely proud of him. That's everything for this video, guys. Peace.